one of the pillars of your existence when it comes to health, fitness, and wellness is protein. I mean, we basically, honestly, I don't think we can live without it. Well, what is it? Why do we need it? What's so important about it? Well, today we are sitting down again with our nutritionist, our dietitian, Tonja Greene, to discuss protein today on the Personalized Fitness Podcast. Hey, good day, and welcome to the Personalized Fitness Podcast. My name is Garrett Williamson. I'm president of Personalized Fitness. Thank you so much for joining us today. Another one of our nutritional podcasts with our friend Tonja Greene. Tonja, thank you again for being on the show. Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
And we're discussing one of my, actually, I'm probably going to say this every time, one of my favorite topics, because when we discuss water, I'm going to say that again.
That's your favorite.
And then, yeah, exactly. So, but before I get into it, let me tell you how to get in touch with us. If you have any questions about this particular podcast or any others, or Dispelling the Myths, any questions about dispelling the myths of health, fitness, wellness, and nutrition, please contact us at area code 251-278-3343. That's 251-278-EDGE. You can also reach me at Garrett, Garrett, at personalizedfitness.com. That, of course, also is our website, personalizedfitness.com. Personalized Fitness is our Facebook page, and hit me up on X at Team PE if you are so inclined. Okay, talking about what I think is one of the staples of nutrition, and one that too many of us, I think, we don't put as much of an importance, mainly because we don't know, and that's protein. Mm-hmm. Give us a little background on why is that important. Give us, I'm gonna say protein. You take it from there.
Take it from there.
Yeah.
Well, again, the first thing I would look at is where it is in popularity today,
right,
and where it came from.
Sure.
Because it was given a bad name.
Right.
Red meat.
Yes.
Was given a bad name, and so
criminalized back in the 1960s with the advent of the food guide pyramid, which you may or may not know this, and I did deep dive into this, which food guide pyramid in 1960 was written by Nick Motern, who was not a dietitian. He wasn't a biochemist. He wasn't a physician. He was a journalist and a vegetarian on top of that, and who happened to be good friends with George McGovern, who was head of the Senate committee that came up with it. There's where your food guide pyramid came from. But this is all, like you're saying, built on lipid hypothesis, criminalizing of red meat, and not only that, other protein sources they criminalized at that time. Think about it. Red meat, eggs,
yes,
and dairy.
Oh, eggs were bad.
Right, exactly, very bad. I'm sorry I interrupted you, though. You were going down that road, though, talking about it.
Right. No, I'm glad that you did. So where we were thinking about protein has now circled back, and all of a sudden people are saying, "Wait a minute, maybe we do need protein again. Maybe we even need red meat."
Right.
Right. Okay. And
imagine
eggs.
that.
And eggs.
Eggs, yes.
Maybe we need eggs.
Yeah.
So so we have now circled back around to that, which it never really changed, but the popularity did.
Right.
And so protein, I saw, was something that people cut out of their diets, and again, now we're seeing that people need to put it back in. We know that we need protein in order to sustain muscle tissue.
Okay. I love that. And that is so true. But let me go ahead and put you on the spot. Is there any other nutrient, substance, whatever, that can take the place of protein as far as maintaining muscle? I mean, Popeye lived off of spinach.
Yeah.
So
pop that can.
Yeah, pop that can of spinach. That's what does it. Is there anything that can take the place of protein?
Your body can use other things, but no, nothing. It can use other things for energy.
Right.
But no, there's not going to be anything that can take the place of protein.
So all right, first thing, without protein, you can't build muscle. We know that. All right. Can you maintain muscle without adequate protein?
No.
Whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
So,
Mm-mm.
And what will happen? All right, if you don't have enough protein, what basically happens in the body as far as muscle is concerned?
Well, your muscle's going to atrophy.
Right. You're going to lose it.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You're going to lose muscle tissue, and just so that we all have the right picture.
Yes, please.
The same picture in our mind.
Yes.
I am not thinking about a bodybuilder. That's not the picture that I have in my mind. The picture that I have in my mind is the person that just needs to have a certain muscle mass for daily function.
Period.
And injury that can be caused from lack of muscle.
Right.
If you trip over something on the ground that you didn't see,
right,
the person that has adequate muscle tissue and adequate balance
right,
is a lot more likely to catch themselves and not
sure,
be injured than a person that doesn't.
And I'll take it a step further. Okay, they weren't able to catch themselves, but they have enough muscle to protect the bones as they fall.
Yes.
And this is, I'm glad you brought it to that level, because if we say protein, I'm going to have plenty of our athletes and our bodybuilders and a lot of our guys, you know,
they're getting enough protein.
Yeah, they probably are getting enough protein.
We don't have to worry about that.
Exactly. But I like the fact that you, because ladies, seniors, it doesn't matter if you're, I don't want big muscles. That's not what we're talking about.
That's right.
No, what I'm talking about. We're talking about, I use the example all the time. My grandmother used to walk to the mailbox to get her mail, and now she can't do that. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's going to happen if you don't take in enough protein. Mm-hmm. So it's basically the building blocks for muscle. All right, roughly, because this gets debated back and forth, I know.
Right.
So putting you on the spot, get to the numbers, you know, just touch on them. But roughly, what do we need daily? Mm-hmm. And this is, and don't get into our bodybuilders. We'll do. Hit me up on X, or hit me up on the phone number or my email, and if you're interested in knowing those massive amounts. But we're talking about everybody, daily life. How much do we need?
Yeah, you know, I think, and again, you can get into kilograms and pounds and all that kind of stuff, but if you're looking at pounds, which is what we here in America look at,
right? Exactly.
I think it's probably somewhere around 0.8 grams per pound. And what I like to look at there is, okay, let's come up with a number.
Right.
And then let's figure out how much you're actually getting. And then we know, okay, there's room for improvement.
Right.
And again, that number, still not the magic bullet.
No, definitely
but
not.
that shows us where you are.
Right.
In relation to where a place that might be better.
Right. True.
So that it gives us a starting point, 0.8, maybe as high as 1.
Right.
But somewhere
in that territory.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into that, because that gets into really prescriptive. You know what I mean? And like you said, you just said in our first podcast, and you did it again. I love the fact that you do this. You took. I'm gonna take each person individually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at them individually. Look at their goals.
Yes.
And do they have any special needs? What have you? And then you're gonna break it down. And I'll notice you're gonna do that every single time, which I love.
Yeah.
So I
Sorry.
think it's fantastic. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's great. It's exactly the way we approach everybody. Personal. It's the beginning of our. It's our first word in our name. So attacking it that way. So okay, that gives us a good round estimate on amounts. But you were talking about. You talked about. Okay, first thing, let's look at what you're doing. Which like I say, I love that. Let's look at what you're doing. See where we need to fill in. All right. Any rules of thumb as far as taking in protein? I have one that I use. I'm curious if you do, as far as rules of thumb of making sure you're getting enough protein throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, first thing that we look at is your meals.
Right.
You know, is there a source of protein on your plate?
Right.
At your meal? And I mean, I think for most people,
right,
there is.
Sure.
Do you have that source of protein at 1 meal a day, at 2 meals a day, or at 3 meals a day?
Right.
Where are you taking in that protein? And then is it enough? Is it an adequate amount? And then, like I said, then we would go from there. Does it need to be a larger portion? Does it need to be a smaller portion?
Right.
If that is just all you can handle, do we need to look at a protein supplement?
Yeah.
If we were talking about an older population,
Right.
Do you have problems chewing?
Yeah.
Can you chew a steak?
Right. Exactly.
Can you even chew a piece of chicken?
Right.
Do we need ground turkey, ground beef,
Right.
fish,
Yeah.
cheese,
Yeah.
yogurt?
Yeah.
So, again, if we were looking at an elderly population, because we've talked about that they tend to, those protein levels tend to decrease.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Yeah, I want to
You wanna
dive.
go that
Okay, we'll get
direction?
into that in
Okay.
a second. But
Okay.
something I should have said at the very beginning, and that is backing up a little bit. Okay, we're talking protein. Give us examples of protein.
Mm-hmm.
Give us food groups that have protein in them.
Well, any sort of meat. Meat has the highest concentration of protein per serving.
Right.
Okay.
Right, okay.
So a 3-ounce portion of meat, which is going to be about the size of a deck of cards,
Right.
is going to have a little over 20 grams of protein.
Okay.
It has about 7 grams protein per ounce.
Right.
So for that small amount of food,
Right.
if you look at vegetables or beans as a source of protein, you're going to have to eat a larger volume to get that same amount. So meat is the go-to because, like I said, it has it gives you more bang for your buck.
And when you say meat, you mean the one we say anything with a face. I mean
any meat.
Any meat.
Yeah. The color of the meat does not matter. It could be red meat, white meat.
Right.
It can be fish. It can be turkey. It can be beef. It can be pork.
Right.
All of that meat is going to have the same amount of protein on it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So there's not a good guy, bad guy in terms of how much protein it has in it.
Sure. Okay.
So meat is going to be your number one source. Dairy.
Yeah.
Going to be next. Milk, cheese, yogurt, and yogurt. Now, my goodness, you can get 4 ounces of yogurt that has 15-20 grams of protein in it now.
And I mean the variety of flavors, the different
Yeah.
types, the probiotics, I mean it's the plethora of different types of yogurts out there.
Right. So that's an easy one now.
Right.
But yeah, dairy's going to be your next one, and then carbs and vegetables do have protein in them, but in a much smaller amount.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that. You and I talked about it a little bit before the podcast, and don't want to do a deep dive into this, but we talk from time to time about. I have friends. We have clients that are vegetarians, and for whatever reason that's their chosen path as far as that. But there's some considerations there about. Now that's a lot of folks that I've worked with, but not something a lifestyle I've lived myself. We've had staff members, believe it or not, that were vegetarians.
Yep.
But as far as the protein approach is a little different. The whole nutritional approach is different. So therefore the protein approach is different. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, and that staff member loved it.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Still does,
yes.
by the way. Still
yes.
does.
Yes. Yeah. So and there's different types of vegetarians.
Yeah, true. All different types. Yeah.
Right,
definitely.
right. So if you are still consuming dairy,
right,
then that's that
big
would be
source right there.
Right, then that would be a big source right there. If you are still consuming eggs,
yes,
then that would be a big source.
Right.
If you are not, then again you're going to rely on peas and beans.
Right.
Now at certain institutions where you might get a smoothie, you can get pea protein.
Oh wow! Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
exactly.
They'll say, "Would you like whey protein or pea protein?"
Yeah.
So anyway, it's definitely easier now.
Yeah.
To get
with the
protein
advancements.
than it was. It's a lot more available. Anyway, so then you're looking at like I say, peas and beans. You're looking at other sources of protein. And if you are all about being a vegetarian, then you're going to be able to find ways to work your protein in, and you're going to just need to eat intentionally,
right?
Which we should all eat intentionally.
Very much so.
Anyway.
Be paying attention to it. So, and you used to. I'm gonna get to where you used an analogy earlier when we were talking about that I want to use on this because it sounded like more complicated than it is, but it's actually not that complicated. But before we get to that, there's a reason why, and it has to do with the amino acids in vegetable protein. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Well, they don't provide what we would consider a complete protein like meat or dairy does.
Like one type of vegetable does not provide the complete. And when you say complete protein, it has protein in it, but doesn't have all the amino acids needed to maintain muscle.
Exactly. So yeah, so you would need to look into combining certain vegetables, certain peas and beans, which again may sound like it's complicated, but if that is your lifestyle, then it's really not. And what we were talking about earlier is you and I both have the lifestyle where we're going to drink our water.
Right.
And whatever it takes to do that, we know that we want to do it. We know that it's good for us. We know that it makes us feel better.
And it's our lifestyle.
Right. I mean, so we're going to figure out how to get that water in.
Right.
And it's going to be the same thing with somebody like that. If that is going to be the lifestyle that they choose, they'll easily be able to figure out what they need to combine and in order to get all their protein.
Yeah, and and you opened my eyes to that, because then I started thinking about it when you were talking about, somebody in that mindset is going to just automatically think that way. And I start thinking about things like, okay, when I have a steak potato, I mean, it automatically comes out. If I'm at a steak, I'm gonna have that's the way I kind of think in that meal. And the certain when I have fish, typically I have my wife and I have green peas.
Right.
Why? I don't know. It's just kind of the way we put those. So you're gonna automatically think that way. It's much like we put together a workout. If I'm gonna do hamstrings, I'm gonna do quads.
Right.
So yeah, it becomes kind of it's easier than you think.
Right.
But there is a little bit of homework involved.
Yeah.
So as far as finding that out, okay, you touched on a subject, and you knew I wanted to get into this. With 35% of our clientele over the age of 65, the trend I see so commonly, and you can find all kinds of documentation on this, but is that seniors take in less protein. Okay, why? And then address the considerations we have for that.
Well, I mean, can I just say that after 30 years of cooking, I'm tired of it, right? So
cooking for 3 kids and a husband,
yeah. So I mean, I do think that there's that whole thing of I just really don't feel like cooking, much less handling raw meat.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Which is typically can be the most hands-on, difficult,
labor-intensive, hard to store,
part of the
expensive,
meal.
hard to keep.
Yes. Yeah. So I do think that plays into it.
I'm sure. Lifestyle changes.
Yes. And as I said earlier, it may not be as easy for some people to chew.
True.
At that point, at that age in their life, but there are certainly alternatives. And I also think that it just becomes something that maybe they're just not thinking about.
Yeah.
Because right now in 2024, your seniors, when they were younger, protein wasn't something they talked about.
No, it happened, but it just occurred, but yeah.
Right. So, and then again, when you're younger, you kind of tend to eat protein.
Right.
But then as you get older, and if you don't know that it's something that's really important for you, it's not going to be high on your radar. So I feel like it's lifestyle changes, it's possibly physical changes,
right.
And then it just may not be on your radar.
And
you may not realize.
Exactly. And the studies, the numbers that are out there, the ones that I've seen, I quote all the time on Live Food, is and actually Live Age, 46% of adults typically don't get enough protein. 72% of seniors don't get. And this plays into my Live Age, because we talk about time passing on a calendar causing deterioration. No, if we back protein out of the diet, I don't care who you are. You can be Charles Atlas. You're going to have loss of function. Period. If you back protein out of the diet, so that's that lifestyle change. The one you really opened my eyes to was I didn't think about just chewing food or what have you. But there are several alternatives, and also the other thing about the lifestyle is convenience. I love what you said. After 30 years of cooking, I'm kind of tired of that.
Yeah.
Well, at that point, at that stage in our life, kids have probably left the house, retirement. Mm-hmm. We're looking for easy.
Right. Exactly.
Looking for close parking spaces. We're looking for easy. Yeah. And so we're in a constant state of making things easier, a constant state of slowing down. And or I shouldn't say slowing down, but making things easier. And a bowl of cereal is a lot easier than cooking a meal.
Right.
But there are okay, we want to stay with that lifestyle because we, like as you talked about in our first session, people asking you, hey, write me a diet. You're going to have to change your entire life to this diet. Well, we're not saying that. There are, if you want to make it easy, there are ways to do that. Supplementation, what have you. Can you touch on that?
Yeah. Well, and let me just start by saying, it's all about being informed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then being intentional.
Yes. Yes.
Once you know what you need to do,
right,
you just have to be intentional.
Right.
Half of the battle, if not more, is fought at the grocery store. Okay.
Okay.
You got to get it first.
Right.
You got to get it home.
Right.
And if you got it at home, then you're going to have a much bigger chance of eating it, prepping it.
Sure.
So big part of the battle is to just be informed and then to be intentional.
Right.
You just want to look at, okay, how many meals a week do I want to prepare?
Right.
Let's just start there.
Right.
And well, let's say that I only want to prepare 4 meals a week at night for dinner.
Sure.
And the rest of them I'm going to eat out.
Right.
So again, the battle's fought at the grocery store. It maybe takes some planning.
Sure.
Again, it's intentionality.
Right.
I know that I need to eat more protein. I need to have more protein around the house. What kind of protein sources am I going to look at? For seniors, something that is certainly a possibility, you see advertised all over the place, protein supplements like Ensure.
Right, right. Boost, Ensure, these kind of things. Yeah.
Right, which is marketed towards a certain population.
Right.
But honestly, any sort of
protein
supplement.
Right.
There are most protein supplements are going to be more of a milk base.
Right.
But now, and something that I've discovered and that I've talked to you about that I really like now is it's called a clear protein.
Right.
And it's actually a whey isolate instead of a whey concentrate.
Okay.
So the whey concentrate's a little bit milkier.
Right.
And the other one is not as milky because it's isolated.
Right.
So anyway, it is more of a juice type base or flavor. You mix it with water.
Right.
Versus, and they have flavors like lemonade, watermelon versus chocolate, vanilla,
punch,
strawberry.
All kinds, yeah, exactly.
Right. So, and then some people just can't. Some people that the milk is something they can't tolerate.
Right. Exactly.
But anyway, these are definitely protein sources that are just good options to look at. The thing I love about the clear protein is that it will also promote your water intake.
Which I love, which I think is fantastic.
Yes.
So,
and I mean, let's just even say that you're just going to use one supplement a day, which
Right.
should be plenty if you're eating it as well. So if you're trying to take in 64 ounces of water a day, you could put 1 scoop of that protein in a large container, and the flavor is going to help you drink it.
Absolutely.
I hear from a lot of people, I know this, water's boring, I don't like the way it tastes, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So this has got protein in it.
Right.
It's flavoring your water, so you're getting protein and it's increasing your water intake.
It's what one of our trainers, Hunter, of all people, said. And Hunter's the guy's built. Know, and I'm sure he's and he fights taking enough protein.
Yes.
And I love what he described of the whey isolate, the clear protein. He said that's a game changer.
Yeah.
And now, like you said, to know me is to know that I love pushing folks to drink more and more water. 100 ounces a day is what we want to try to get to. And now people are excited, like, wow, this is like adding, Gatorade powder to my water, and it adds a flavor to it. And you're right, it really promotes it. But the ones we're looking at, 22 grams of protein.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a chunk.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So I think also in the senior population, that would be a real easy way. But you've also got, I use the cereal example all the time. It's just Fred and I. So, we were home, kids aren't there. We just grabbed a bowl of cereal. Well, grabbing a cup of yogurt, grabbing a glass of milk, grabbing, there are those easy alternatives that do fit your lifestyle to make sure you're getting enough protein.
And there are also some cereals that have more protein in them than
absolutely,
you think.
absolutely.
And so again, but it's that intentionality.
Yeah,
okay,
true.
I know I need more protein.
Right.
let me do a little bit of label reading.
Sure.
Oh, hey, I like that cereal.
Right.
When I combine it with milk,
Right.
I've got 15 grams of protein.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus something that doesn't have any protein.
Any protein at all.
Right.
Exactly.
So I'm still eating my cereal.
Right.
So I'm still easy.
Sure.
But this has got some protein in it.
You know, we could be on the subject all day. I wanted to touch on one other thing, and that is what I'd like to call supplemental proteins. But it's my meals, I'm getting in protein, but I may not be getting enough. What about those snacks, like snack foods there's some snack foods that have protein in them.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely. And again, what do you like? Some people they tend to go towards salty.
Right.
And other people tend to go towards sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. And in both of those scenarios, you can find options that are going to have protein. Just like you're talking about the yogurt. Yogurt is a sweet option. We had talked earlier about nuts.
Right.
If you're someone that, I think the joke is, chips or French fries, are you a salty person or are you a sweet? So nuts are a great alternative if you're somebody that is a little more salty, savory.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great protein option. String cheese.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great
throwback.
option. Yeah, that is. But still, there's a lot of people that still like string cheese. I understand.
Yeah. Cheese. And then there's, of course, there's the Quest chips out there now.
Yeah, exactly.
That have like 18 grams of protein, something like that in them.
Right.
So there's certainly options out there. Again, you got to get in the mindset of, I know I need more protein.
Right.
How can I get it?
Exactly. And look at what you're already doing. So, and I love this example because you actually know this person. I'm not going to say his name, but we have somebody going through B3 and he's a rather large individual. Yeah. And so he's going to struggle to try to get in all the protein he needs. And he was elated when he found out, I mean, I can have cashews? Oh, absolutely. First thing, there's no such thing as bad food. Mm-hmm. Second thing, your snack foods, because he's a meat eater, no problem doing that. But as big as he is, it's a large volume. So he's excited that he's supplementing it. He's looked at his whole menu, basically what he eats, and he's filling it in with cat and loves it. Mm-hmm. And back to what you said in our first podcast, let's enjoy food again. Mm-hmm. Getting back to enjoying food.
Absolutely.
Well, we could, like I say, we'd go on for hours about this, but if you have any particular questions dealing with this and dealing with protein, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for answering our questions, Tonja. And reach out to us if you have any questions dealing with this at area code 251-278-3343. It's 251-278-EDGE. Also reach me at Garrett@personaledgefitness.com. Our website, personaledgefitness.com, Personal Edge Fitness, our Facebook page, or on X @Team PE. If you have any questions, especially if you have any particular considerations dealing with this, because we do have special populations that we deal with, be more than glad to look at this on an individual basis, because that's how we do approach everybody, and it's one more way we help you reach your level of wellness. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time.